Steve, thank you. An update to a story you saw first on Fox 19 Now. An alleged serial rapist charged in Gallatin County is now facing more than 20 additional charges in Kenton County. Our Courtney King joins us live from Kenton County Police with some details you'll only see right here on Fox 19 Now. What do you know, Courtney?
Yeah, Tricia and Rob. So we know that there are 8 victims in Kenton County, according to court documents. It also says that the alleged incidents happened between 2014 and 2017. We do need to warn you that some of the details in those court documents are very disturbing. It also says that some of the women came to Paul Snow thinking that he was going to fix their electronics, their phones, their laptops, and then he allegedly told them that he would need sexual favors as payment.
The sheer volume and the number of victims, the number of charges, number of rapes, number of sodomies is very alarming and disturbing, to say the least.
On Thursday, Kenton County Police announced alleged serial rapist Paul Snow Jr. now faces 22 charges in Kenton County, including rape, kidnapping, sodomy, and human trafficking. Snow was arrested in Gallatin County in April of 2023 for similar charges.
But when Gallatin County law enforcement was looking into the allegations in their county against Mr. Snow, other victims started coming forward.
Kenton County Commonwealth's attorney Rob Sanders says Snow lived in Kenton County before moving to Gallatin County. Kenton County court documents name 8 different victims in this case. According to those documents, he told one of the victims he used to be a cop and threatened to call 911 to report her for a DUI if she left. Police confirmed he called Kenton County Dispatch to report an intoxicated female in February of 2015. Officers say Snow has never been a police officer. The criminal complaint says he strangled multiple victims. One victim says she passed out from it, and when she woke up, Snow was having sex with her.
This is by far the most number of counts against a accused rapist with adult victims, meaning that we're dealing with forcible rape allegations, that I've ever seen.
The documents show one victim says Snow assaulted her in front of her 1-year-old child when he was supposed to fix her iPhone. According to the report, the victim says she performed a sexual act on Snow out of fear for her and her child's safety. The complaint says in December of 2015, a woman lost consciousness after Snow gave her something to drink and sodomized her. It says he kept her from her phone and threatened her, saying he had hundreds of photos and videos of her that he would send out.
Welcome back to Operation Evil. This is episode 153. And we're calling it The Northern Kentucky Woman Who Exposed and Survived a Serial Rapist, featuring Paityn. I'm your host, Nyoka.
I'm your co-host, Heather.
And before we jump into this, Heather was the person who really made this happen and reached out and spoke to Paityn. And she was a great guest, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
Very open.
Yes.
Very
Mm-hmm.
open. We recorded already with her, and it was like, what was going on tonight? Bad weather or something?
My internet was just being uncooperative.
That's what it was. I couldn't remember, but we were like, you know what? Me and you will just jump on here and do a better intro, outro kind of thing and introduce her and all this good stuff. So I think that you guys are really going to enjoy this episode. If you have any questions for her, you can reach out, and me or Heather can reach out to her for you.
Yep. She was willing to speak with people.
Yeah, she was great. And I think that we need more people like this to come on the show. So if you have a story that you would like to share with us and with everyone, really, we would love to have you contact us at any time. And we're very responsive. So if anything you experience think could help someone else, that's what we want. We want to help other people.
Yes.
So before we jump into this case, do you think there should be any? I guess we should always give a trigger warning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here on Operation Evil, we often share those stories of crime and focus on the criminals and the darkness that exists in the world. But today, the other day, when we talked to our guest, we were honored to have her, and wanted everyone to know that this story was not defined about what happened to her, but it was defined by her courage. So our guest chose not to let evil have the last word. Through her incredible strength, perseverance, and bravery, she came forward, spoke the truth, and helped bring justice where there might have been silence. Sharing a story like this is never easy. It requires immense courage to revisit memories, especially in a setting like this. So we were deeply grateful to have her willingly join us, not only to share her journey, but to offer hope and encouragement to others who may be walking similar paths. So we were joined by Paityn, and her strength inspired us. Her voice does matter, and her willingness to shine the light on what happened was important to us, and I'm sure it will be important to you. So there is a special disclaimer. Events in her story contain discussions of sexual assault and may be difficult for some audiences. And of course, listener discretion is advised.
And then on top of it, this happened in our backyard.
Correct.
So very local. And you might, if you're from this area, you might know people that have experienced this kind of situation with this person that she speaks about. So listen up and listen close. This one will shock you.
Evil enthusiasts, please welcome a remarkable young woman whose courage helped bring a dangerous predator to justice. We thank you for trusting us with your story, Paityn, and wherever you would like to begin, we would love to hear your story.
So it all started with me just scrolling through social media. I was on Facebook one day and I got a friend request from Paul Snow. I accepted his friend request. He immediately messaged me on Messenger, told me that I was really pretty, and I told him that he was cute. I thought he was very cute. He asked if he could have my phone number, and I gave him my phone number, and he texted me. So our conversation on Messenger was very short and to the point. As soon as we exchanged phone numbers, he texted me, just making small talk. I like to get to know somebody very well, like through text message or messenger or instant message before I meet them in person. So I was playing 20 questions with him, which I play with everybody that I am getting to know, like any stranger that I'm getting to know. And it's just a random question game. You just ask questions about each other. So I was asking him if he had been married before, if he had any kids, where he was from. And he kind of cut me off in the middle of me asking those questions. And he said, I'm really old fashioned. I like to get to know my people in person. Is there any way you'd be willing to meet up? And I was like, yeah, sure. We can meet up. So this was like a couple of days into talking. I said, yeah, where do you want to meet up? Thinking we're going to go out for dinner. I was only 19 at the time, so I couldn't go out for drinks. But I thought that maybe we'd go out for dinner or like go bowling or something. So I'm asking him where he wants to meet. And he said, I'm actually really busy in a full-time. He said, I work full-time on my woodworking business. And I also have a 13-year-old son that I care for full-time. He said, so if you wanted to hang out, my schedule's a little tight, but you could come over to my house. Maybe me, you, and the kid could shoot some pool in the basement. So I felt kind of uncomfortable with it in the first place because I didn't want to go to somebody's house the first time I hung out with them.
Right.
But then he was like going on about what a stand-up guy he was, how he was a single full-time dad, had full custody of his kid, is ex-military. And he seemed really sweet and genuine. Like he was a very charming guy. So I was like, well, since his son's going to be there, like, I guess that is like insurance. His 13-year-old son's going to be there. Nothing is going to happen with this kid there. So I lived in Amelia, Ohio at the time in a little 2-bedroom apartment that I was paying for. I was a single mother with a 2-year-old son. And I went ahead and it was a night that my son was with his father. So I went ahead and headed over to Paul's house. He was sitting on his front porch when I pulled up with a bourbon drink in his hand. Again, I was 19, so I was not used to drinking. I hadn't really drinking much in the previous times.
Was he a lot older than you with having a 13-year-old son? Do you remember?
I believe he was 36 or 35.
Okay. I was just curious with the age of his son. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was in his mid-30s. So he was a lot older than me, but he was very charming, very cute. And I was looking for a man who was financially stable and kind of had his shit together because I had a 2-year-old and I had my own place and I had already graduated college. I just kind of wanted to get with somebody who was on my level. So I was really kind of dating mostly older men, like in their early 30s, I would say, like late 20s, early 30s. I was dating guys that age. So I went to his house. He was sitting on his porch. He had a bourbon drink in his hand, and he was rocking in one of the wooden chairs that he had made himself, because he did a lot of woodworking, and he like showed it off a lot. And that's how he impressed a lot of women. And when I walked up to his porch, he was like, "Hey, nice to meet you. Can I get you something to drink?" And I didn't want to seem like I was 19 years old, even though I was.
Right.
So I said, "Yeah, sure. You can pour me a drink, but I hate bourbon. I've never been a bourbon girl.
Me
Can't
neither.
even stand the smell of it. I'm a fruity, like, seltzer girl. I don't drink very much, and I don't drink very heavy. So he poured me a bourbon drink. I don't know if he put anything in it, like any mixer or anything in it. I just know it was a very short cocktail glass. It smelled very strongly of bourbon. I only had put my lips to it. I never drank any of it. I just literally put it up to my lips and pretended to sip on it while we played pool. So then he introduced me to his son as soon as we walked into the living room. He was like, "Hey, this is my son, Colton." I said, "Hey, Colton." Colton said, "Hey, Paityn." I was like, "Nice to meet you." He said, "It's nice to meet you. You want to go play some pool?" I said, "Yeah, let's go play some pool." We all went downstairs. We played pool for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And it was just fun, friendly banter, playing pool with his son, nothing inappropriate, no like overly flirtiness, just some casual pool playing fun.
Sounds
Harmless.
normal. Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. I was having an okay time. They were making fun of me for not being able to shoot pool, and I was getting lessons from him and his son. And after about 2.5 hours of doing that, we headed back upstairs, and Paul looked at his son and was like, "Hey," well, when we were heading up the steps, it was Colton first, me behind Colton, and Paul was behind me. So Colton gets up the steps. We're in the middle of the steps, and Paul tugs my hand back, and I pull back, and I look at him, and he leans in and kisses me. But it was just like a quick peck, nothing like too vulgar, or it was innocent. It seemed like very sweet. It was just a kiss. So we headed back up the rest of the steps, and when we got to the living room floor, he says, "Colton, it's time to go to bed." And I was like, "Bye, Colton. It was nice to meet you." He was like, "It was nice to meet you too." He goes to bed. And then I look at Paul and I said, "It's about time for me to turn in as well." And he said, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "It's time for me to head out too. It's getting late. I need to get home. I have work in the morning." He said, "You're not leaving." And I said, "What?" And he said, "You're not leaving." And he grabs my keys out of my hand immediately. I have a little wallet with my keychain on it. I don't have a purse. I just carry a little keychain with my wallet and my keys attached to it.
Right.
He grabs the whole thing, chucks it across the living room, and it smacks the living room wall and falls behind the couch.
Oh, this is scary.
And as soon as it happened, I started shaking my head and I said, "Please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't." And he grabbed me by my hair and started dragging me back to his room. So I'm like crawling on all fours, but also trying to stand up and walk with him so that my hair doesn't get ripped out of my head, because it really hurt how bad he was hair and dragging me. He drags me into his room and puts me on his bed. And I said, "Please don't, please don't." He said, "Shut up, shut up. My kid's in the room next door. Shut up." Immediately puts his hand over my throat and starts strangling me. I grab his wrist with both my hands and I'm trying to fight him off of me. And he says, "Shh, shh, shh." Keeps hushing me, telling me to be quiet. I'm trying to scream, but I'm losing ability to gasp for air because of how hard he's pressing on my throat. So then I pass out. And then I come to, and he's taking off my pants. And I'm trying to yell, but nothing's coming out. And he's not releasing enough tension for me to get a lot of air. So I'm just kind of coming to and from. He pulls down my pants. My shoes are still on. I'm like, I'm fully dressed. I'm not, like, it was so sudden and out of nowhere. He has his right hand around my throat while he's choking me. His left hand is unbuttoning my pants and pulling my pants down. He pulls his pants down with his left hand while he's choking me. He keeps his hand over my throat this entire time and is choking me the entire time. And that's when he penetrated me. And then I passed out again. I came to, and he was still raping me.
Oh my God.
I passed out again. And I don't know how long I was like, it felt like it was like seconds to maybe minutes that I was passing out and coming to the first like 3 or 4 times. But then the last time that I passed out feels like it, I don't know how long it was. I don't know if it was 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 minutes. But I know it was a long period of time because he was no longer on the bed. I turn over and I see his bathroom from like his room has a bathroom in it. And I see him, his bathroom door is cracked and I can see like the frosted shower door and the water running. So I assume he's in the shower. So I slowly roll out of bed. I felt so weak. I felt so weak and so lightheaded and so dizzy. I rolled out of bed and I was on all fours. I stand up, pull up my pants, run to the living room, go behind the couch, grab my car keys, run out the front door, get in my car, drive to the nearest gas station, pull over in the UDF. It was the closest gas station, or it was the first gas station that I passed after leaving his house. I pull into that gas station and I cried for like 2 hours. I just sat there and cried. And then after I cried for a couple hours, I went home. I didn't get my son that night. I texted my son's father, told him that I couldn't get Liam, that there was an emergency and I'd have to get him the next day. I went home. I didn't shower or anything because the whole time it was on my mind, like I should go get a rape kit done. I should go get a rape kit done. I should go to the hospital. I should get a rape kit done. But I just wanted somebody to tell me to go get a rape kit done. I wanted somebody to tell me to go to the hospital and to report it and to do something about it. I grew up in foster care from a history of sexual abuse. So I've been in a situation where I've been sexually manipulated and abused before and nothing's come from it. And that was as an innocent child. So my faith in like something being done about it and something happening from it was just so slim to none. And I didn't want to go through doing that just for nothing to happen or for like a slap on the wrist because it's so common that men get a slap on the wrist for raping women.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So I didn't know what to do. I went home. I went to bed, got up that next morning for work. I woke up at about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I had gotten home about 12:30 at night. Woke up about 5:30 in the morning. I decided I was wearing the same clothes that I wore to Paul's house. I slept in those clothes. I didn't change. I didn't shower. I didn't do anything. I went to my mom's house at about 6:30 in the morning. I had work at 8 a.m. and my mom lived about 5 minutes from my work. So I went to my mom's house. My mom and my sister lived at my mom's house and I wanted to tell them what happened. So I tell them what happened. I go there at about 6 o'clock in the morning. I tell them what happened. I'm like, listen, I was a fucking idiot. I went to this dude's house by myself. I don't know why I would do that. And I was really hard on myself when I'm telling them the story about it. And they're like, Paityn, you could have died. You are a fucking idiot. Why would you do that? You're so stupid for going to somebody's by yourself. Like, you should not go to somebody's private property. You asked for it. Basically, like telling me I made the decision to get raped. They didn't encourage me to go to the hospital or to go get a rape kit done. They just kind of told me that I was really stupid for putting myself in that situation, that I should have known better, and that I'm not that naive.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that didn't really make me feel like going to the hospital and getting anything done about it. But I still was like desperate for somebody to tell me to go get a rape kit done. So I went to work, still in the same clothes, still hadn't showered. I went to work and I told one of my coworkers about it. I told her like what had happened. And she said, oh my God, are you okay? I'm so sorry that happened to you. She said, did you call the cops? And I said, I didn't. And she said, you can still go to the hospital. And I said, I just don't know because I don't want to. I said I was an idiot. Like, I went to my mom's house this morning and she told me that I was an idiot. Like, I literally asked for it to happen to me because I went to a stranger's house where his private property was and put myself in that situation. So I said, I don't know if I want to sing. I was also terrified of Paul. He was a very, very, very scary man. His eyes were completely black while he was attacking me. He looked like a demon.
He would have to be.
Yes.
He looked so fucking scary and soulless. And it was a terrifying, terrifying time. And the whole time it was happening, like while he was strangling me and while I was coming to and from, the whole time I'm thinking I'm gonna pass out and I'm not gonna wake up. Like one of these times he's gonna strangle me too hard and I'm gonna die and I'm never gonna see my son again. So the whole time I'm thinking about my little 2-year-old boy, and he's the love of my life. He's my saving grace. And I am thinking the whole time, I made this stupid fucking choice and now I'm never going to see my son again. I'm literally going to die here. So while I'm at Home Depot and I'm telling my coworker what happened to me, I'm like, you know what? I just feel so lucky that I'm alive. Like, I just am so grateful that I made it out of that and that I'm alive and that I get to see my son after my work shift today. So then I decided at that time, in that moment, to put it behind me and to never speak to him again. While I was at work, he had texted me because I had never blocked his phone number since leaving his house. I just was spooked out and terrified. So he had texted me and he said, so quiet this morning. And I texted him back and I said, you raped me. And then I blocked him and I blocked him on Facebook. I blocked him on everything. And he never reached out to me again. But in that moment, after telling my coworker that, I just kind of told her that I was just feeling lucky to be alive and well, and that I was going to be able to see my son that night and still be a family and raise him and be around to raise him. And I just promised myself I'd never make a decision that stupid again in my entire life, and I would never put myself in danger again. And I avoided dating apps and dating sites and being like open on social media and really talking to really any men or meeting up with any men or ever meeting with a man outside of a public place. And I'm just very careful about who I talk to and like what accounts I have. And I do a background check on everybody that I'm ever involved with before I ever meet up with them in person.
Yeah, you're traumatized at this point.
Yeah, so I've just definitely on
I can't believe
defense.
he texted you.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, I wonder if he was like filling it out to see what you were going to do.
He carries it on with every woman that he's ever attacked. I mean, this other girl, I had over 100 women reach out to me that they were either sexually harassed, virtually or electronically harassed, or sexually assaulted by Paul Snow. Wow. Had over 100 women reach out to me. And there was women that would text
back
him.
up a second. Oh.
What was that, Heather?
I'm sorry. I said, I just want to know if we could back up a second and let our listeners know that this man is a serial rapist and that how he was caught was because of you and the things that you posted and the women reached out to you, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So later on down the line, that my mom and my sister were the only two people I told aside from my coworker. After I talked to my coworker and I decided to make it water under the bridge, I said, I'm going to move on with my life, never be in that position again. And I'm just going to pretend like it never happened and be thankful that I still have my life. I never talked about it again until a few years later, like 3 to 4 years later. I got this really good friend of mine, called her Tia. She was telling me a story about how she had to go to the Kenton County Police Station. And I was like, for what? She was like, this dude like hacked my phone and blah, blah, blah. And he was mirroring my phone and could see my text message, my phone calls, my videos, my conversations. He could see all my contacts, all my photos. Wow. He had responded to a conversation she was privately having with her friend. And that's how she found out that he was mirroring her phone. So then she comes around and she says, this guy named Paul Snow. And I said, no, fuck, Paul Snow. She said, yes, Paul Snow. And I said, I was raped by Paul Snow. And she said, no, you weren't. I said, yes, I was. And then I tell her the story about how I was raped by Paul Snow. And then she tells me her story about how he posted for a personal assistance position at his home for $60,000 a year. And he interviewed people at his home, in his home office for the position. And that's how she had met him. And he had hacked her phone and put a spyware software on there, an illegal spyware software on there. And that's how he was able to mirror her phone and see everything on it. So I was like, that's so crazy that I was involved with Paul Snow and you were involved with Paul Snow. And you are literally the 4th person I've ever told about it. And then another year goes by and I tell the next person about it. It's the next time that I bring it up. Cause like I said, it was water under the bridge. I tried not to bring it up or talk about it. I tried to pretend like it didn't happen. So I'm talking to my friend Tiana Thompson about it. And I was like, this guy, Paul Snow. And I tell her the story. And she said, my very good friend was raped by Paul Snow. And I said, there's no way that I've told 2 girls about it in the last 4 years. And the 2 girls that I told about it have a story relating to Paul Snow specifically. I said, there's no way that he's not a serial rapist if the 2 people that I've talked to or reached out to have been personally involved with him as well. So that's why I decided I took screenshots of his profile pictures, the ones that he used on dating websites. And he continuously sent me friend requests after our interaction. he continuously made new Facebooks and new accounts and continuously sent me friend requests for like years and years and years down the road. He never stopped until he was arrested. And that's the only time that I stopped getting reached out to by him. So I took pictures of his profile pictures that he puts on dating apps and stuff. And I warned women. I said, your local Northern Kentucky rapist, ladies and gentlemen. And I put a little background on it and said he does really good woodworking. And he sells his woodwork as a way of luring women to his house, especially when they're alone. And if they're not alone, then he ends up harassing them on social media or reaching out to them in some other kind of way. And if they come alone, then they're in a vulnerable position. They're either attacked or raped, or their electronics get spyware put on them. So I just put a little background about what I knew about him and how old he was and that he has a son, and just warned other women about your local Northern Kentucky rapist, who, like an underground rapist that was out there luring young single mothers, mostly young single mothers, to their worst nightmare. So I wanted to get the word out to help warn other women, to help protect them, because I think it's our job as victims to help spread the word and help warn other women about monsters that are out there.
Yeah,
so
that was really brave of you. You
Thank you.
told everyone.
Yeah.
After
I
only
agree.
telling 4 people, you opened up on the internet just to help someone. And that's so awesome of you.
Yeah. And on a platform, you knew he was constantly changing things on to find ex-victims. So yes, kudos.
Thank you. So I just wanted to get the word out and just try to help there stop being more victims or other victims, because I knew he was on the prowl on a regular basis and he had a formula and a plan in place. And I just wanted to help warn other women about him. And then that turned into over 100 women reaching out to me, and the Gallatin County case getting started, and the Kenton County case having so many women come forward. And there's multiple cases in multiple counties with multiple different women, but only so many came forward because a lot of them are terrified, because Paul Snow is a very terrifying man. He's a monster. I mean, he's very, very scary. He's very, very strong. And there's just no fighting him when you have his hand wrapped around your neck. Like, there's just no fighting him. He strangled multiple victims. He strangled most of his victims. If he wasn't strangling them, he was holding a gun to their head. I mean, he tortured his victims. He handcuffed his victims. He was a monster.
That's horrible. And I think I read there were like 9 women that came forward in Kenton County anyway.
Yeah, there was originally 38 women when this first started 4 years ago.
Wow.
When this case first opened, 38 women had came forward for Kenton County, but only 9, it was either 8 or 9 ended up speaking at trial and actually coming forward. The rest of them either backed out or got cold feet or didn't come to their interviews or just got too nervous, which I get. Like, I try so hard to be empathetic about that because I am a victim and I understand how scary it is, but it's also so infuriating because there's power in numbers and there's power in truth. If you don't go through the bravery of going forward with it and telling your story and getting the truth out there, then all you're doing is making it susceptible for the world to have more victims than what there needs to be. So, like, I understand it's scary and it takes a lot of bravery, but like, I feel like as a victim, you should feel like it's kind of your responsibility to get the word out there and to help protect other women from them being in that position as well. You know, like it's women versus women.
You're like a natural advocate. Do you do that kind of work?
I was just going to say that.
No,
I could totally see you doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So when you were saying there's like the power in numbers is absolutely right. And it's like you were in a battle by yourself against this man. But then, you know, did you feel validated when those women were coming forward on the internet? And then when the women did speak at trial, did that give you a little bit of like, yeah, we were right. Yeah, he is garbage. He is a monster. That kind of thing.
I will say, like, it gives you like, this kind of sounds a little selfish, but it is a little validating, like having those women come forward and knowing, like finding out, like having the hunch that he was a serial rapist and then finding out like, oh, he is a serial rapist. Like that was a little validating. Like the most validating part was when we were in that courtroom, like for the soft sentencing and the final sentencing, it's like everything is a blur until you hear your counts. Right. So like count 1, count 2, count 3, count 4. So I'm listening to all these counts and I'm hearing guilty, 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 guilty. But I know count 21, 22, 23, and 24 are mine. So I'm waiting for counts 21, 22, 23, and 24 to come up because I want to know that my story was heard, my story was believed, and my attack had landed him in jail for at least X amount of years. Like there is so much, there is so much justice like for my soul to hear that my count specifically helped put him in jail and behind bars, though he was guilty for every single one of those counts. So every single one of the women that spoke up and came forward, all were served justice and all got to sleep a little easier that night. So we all moved mountains together. But the most justifying part was hearing when your counts are getting read out loud and they're being pronounced as guilty or not guilty. Because if they counted you and they said not guilty, then it's like, fuck, I came forward for nothing. I went through this for nothing. I took the stand for nothing. And it didn't affect anything. But the fact that the jury believed every single one of us and all of our stories and they all took our side was very justifying.
What was he like in court? Did he keep his head down or did he?
He locked eyes with me and looked me directly in the eyes the entire time I gave my statement.
Probably trying to freak you out.
Yeah. But that's why, like, during our final sentencing, we got to do victims' impact statements. And I had written one. And it was like, it was kind of how I felt. But like, by the end of this, it's not how I felt. Like, I wrote a victim impact statement and it was like along the lines of, the anxiety that I carry and the fear that I have and the distrust I start with people. But like as other victims are going up and reading their impact statements before me, they're stating the same things. They're like, I will always have anxiety. I will always be scared. I'll always be terrified. I'll never trust again. And all I'm thinking the whole time they're reading their victim impact statements is stop. You are feeding his ego. That's exactly what he wants to hear. He's getting the ice cream and cherry on top before he gets locked up for the rest of his life. So when I went up there to do my victim impact statement, I had my phone with my notes and I had it written out, but I just decided to go off of what I wanted to say. I said, I had something written, but it's just not what I want to say now. I said, Paul, you took nothing from me. I think you're a slimy, disgusting piece of shit. I think you're a terrible fucking father. I hope you rot in hell. And I hope you enjoy rotting in a jail cell while I eat steak and drink wine tonight to celebrate a monster going away for the rest of his life. Like, you can go fuck yourself.
Yay.
I feel stronger and better after this. I don't feel fearful. I'm going to go into the world more vulnerable and more open because the world's a better place without you in it.
Yeah.
Good. Yes.
And he's raising a boy at the same time.
Yes.
Raising a teenager.
Yeah.
He was grooming him.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I would say so. I would agree. But good for you and your will to be you and
I do have
speak
a
your
question
mind
when you're
and
done.
Not be scared. You're fine.
Your mom, who did not support you when you told her, when this was all said and done and all these victims came forward, was she more sympathetic or did that change or?
So like I said, I grew up in foster care. I didn't have a very close relationship with my mom. I've never been very close to her. She's been a very heavy alcoholic and drug addict for majority of my life. So she was in a very clouded headspace and was drinking on a very regular basis and was high all the time. So she wasn't the poster child for a mother of the year, you know?
Yeah.
But fast forward to today, with this happening, my mother's been sober for a year as of next month. And it's the first time in my entire life my mom's ever been sober. So we actually are very close. We're best friends now. She calls me for everything. I call her for everything. I take care of her. She's on my phone plan. I take her on trips. I take her out to lunch once a week. I am her caretaker. I take her to all our doctor's appointments. So we are actually super close now. She's actually a lot healthier, and she was crying, super happy for me. My sister passed away a couple years ago, and she was also a victim of sexual abuse as a child by the same man who was sexually abusing me. And my sister had told me before she died, she said, we may not have been able to put our father away, but if you put this monster away, it's like some bit of relief and peace in our souls for cleaning up the world and making it a better place. So my sister wasn't around to see it happen, but my mom was, and my mom was sober enough to appreciate it and see how strong I was for all this. And she was crying happy tears and told me my sister would be so proud. And she actually ended up turning things around a lot since then, but she's a very different woman than she was when this attack happened to me.
Wow. I'm glad she turned everything around. You guys are close now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about your sister,
That's
too.
good.
Was she younger
Yeah.
or older?
She was 31 when she passed away. She was 6 years older than me.
Oh, wow. So young.
Yeah, very young.
Mm.
Wow,
Heather,
incredible.
you got
I'm just in
questions?
awe.
I know that you were writing stuff
Yeah,
down. I'm more of on the fly.
Yeah, if I don't at least write down a thought, it goes away. So I'm just in awe of you, Paityn, and I just want to give you like kudos and yeah, I mean for your bravery, for your stand-up-ish spirit. It's very encouraging when you hear a story like this to know that even though bad things happen, like you said, if there's one person to help put a monster away or put somebody bad away for the rest of their lives or for a good amount of time, you know, it's all worth it. And that's why we do what we do, and, you know, help shine the light on this evil that's in this world.
You know, I get the Rob Sanders emails every Friday, and I remember seeing Paul Snow's arrest, and I remember he was like on the top, like the first person listed, usually has like a long case, you know, summary of what's going on. I remember that. I think because his name, it was rememberable. It's just so weird.
Paul Snow's a very unique name.
Yeah, very, very much.
I mean, it's just like now that I know he's such a violent, crazy fucking psychopath. Like Paul Snow just sounds like a psychopath's name.
Yeah.
It just fits him.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't know. Yes. What a monster. Yeah, he was sentenced to a long time, wasn't he? He got the max in Kentucky.
Yeah, so the jury recommended 365 years. The judge ended up recommending 365 years, and they capped out at 70 years in Kentucky. So he'll be up for probation after 20 years, but that's why we did our victims impact statements to hopefully keep him behind bars when that probation period comes up. But the Commonwealth, who was working for Paul Snow, they tried to get him, they asked for 50 years. They asked for it to get lowered to 50 years. And the judge said, I'm sorry, but I recommend 365 years. You're every woman's worst nightmare. You had a hold of these people's families and their children and their livelihoods, and you invaded every bit of their privacy and their well-beings and their homes and their personal privacy. And she just was disgusted by him. She said that he was every woman's worst nightmare and that he deserved the whole 365 years.
Good. And that's just a fraction of the people that came forward. So
right.
He really was a danger. Awesome. Thank you so much, Paityn. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That will do it for today's episode. But before we go, Heather would like to share a hotline, jot it down, share it with a friend. There's someone out there that needs this.
Save it in your phone.
Yes.
So if you or anyone you know who has experienced sexual assault, the National Sexual Assault Hotline is RAINN, RAINN.org, or 1-800-656-HOPE, HOPE, or that's 1-800-656 HOPE. Sorry, I don't have the actual numbers.
Thank you for sharing that.
Or you can text. Simple text can get you through to 64673. And also 988 is the suicide hotline, and crisis hotline is you text the word home, HOME, to 741-741. So if any kind of situation arises that you or a friend or any kind of danger, of course, 911 is always a good first step. If you can't, if you're in a situation where you can't speak on the phone, these numbers do have text messages, and they all are confidential. They do have a thing in some of these text and websites that will automatically delete the history. So if you're chatting online with a crisis hotline, some of those crisis hotlines delete your browser history and they don't save in your computer.
I love that.
So if your stalker or your whoever is checking up, they don't see that.
I love that. I'm glad that they were able to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So pay attention. Maybe you could post that information somewhere on the Facebook when this episode comes out. But hopefully Paityn's story today was something to show you that you're strong enough, you can do this, and
you're not alone.
You're not alone. Yeah, definitely. So thank you for listening. And if you can't get enough of Operation Evil, consider supporting the podcast by joining Patreon or Operation Evil Plus on Buzzsprout. When you join, you'll have access to exclusive bonus episodes. And even when we take a break from our normal episodes, which we might do this summer, you will still have a bonus episode over there. So you're not missing anything when you join. Operation Evil has it's over 50 bonus episodes ready for you to binge on if you want. The links are always in the show notes, so you can find those there. If you can't join, consider supporting our podcast for free by talking about us, maybe sharing our post, maybe following us on Instagram, Facebook. We've been on the TikTok doing some videos there too. Heather's been really good about doing some trivia with crime. I think it's really fun, and it's a good idea that you did that. I probably should participate and do some of these videos. So I don't know, maybe one day I'll be brave enough and I'll shock you. Maybe. I don't know. But anyways, these are just little things that we really do appreciate, and it matters. So let's build our community up and let's be there for each other and listen to true crime and, I don't know, get information out there. We appreciate you. But that's all we have for today. We'll be back next time with a new episode. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.